savings is straightforward.
If you divide this $480,000 by 16 or 1,700 tons, it's pretty high price. But if you divide this by a much higher number because you diverted more, that price is dropping down drastically. But definitely cleaner earth, and you're saving on every end. So,
could I make an additional point? I mean, we've been recycling now for many years, and when we started this program, what year was that?
88.
88. We were the first curbside program in the state. We're around 16 or 17% right now recycling. We're below the state average, which is about 21 or 22%. There's many towns and cities now in the state in the 30s. We need to kick our program a little bit. We need to give it the incentive that we need, and this could very well be the beginning of that. Mm-hmm. Janusz has mentioned an ordinance change. That's another thing that we can possibly look at. We're also looking at doing more things and more hours possibly at the drop-off center. One thing I'd like to mention on the recycling, sure, we have a red bin, but if things go right here, you're going to need more than one red bin. I mean, some of us are tree huggers when it comes to our recycling program, and I happen to be one of them and mighty proud of it. I got a compost pile in the back of my yard that diverts 12% of my weight from my waste stream, and I recycle with not only a barrel with wheels on it that may not go out every week, but it goes out at least every other week, and a newspaper and a recycled paper bin. So it can be done, but you really need to get into it. And our education program with the newsletter and with this committee will continue to work at that.
I think also, see, you can recycle not only in the red bins, you can put in the bags, recyclable bags, as long as they are not heavier than 30 pounds, you can have 30 bags to put next to this barrel for recycling. So unfortunately, we're still gonna have these bags because if we will go to the bins, that's another $1.3 million that it's tough to swallow to have, you know, both automated. Would be nice, that would be wonderful, but I could not recommend that because of the cost. So.
Okay. Other questions? Paul?
Yeah.
Regarding the containers, are these going to be, just help me understand how we're going to get a couple thousand of these things distributed to the citizens of Londonderry practically?
Vendor will distribute to each house. There would be a number, serial number on each of them. We will also, we can put the logo, town logo, just like you have here Lowell on the side. We can have a town logo, and there would be a serial number. Serial number would be assigned to individual address. So if by any chance that container is going to end up in the neighbors because they needed 2 containers, we will be able to trace by the number, serial number that is assigned to the address, and that's how this is going to be distributed.
Okay. Just a comment on the containers. My in-laws live in Lexington, Kentucky, and they went to this program probably 20 years ago, and it's been very successful. And one of the impressive things was the automated nature. When the garbage truck comes down the street, this like claw comes out, grabs it,
throws it.
There's no, you know, there's no danger to. First of all, it takes less people to do it, so they don't have to. You know, there's not the expense of having 4 guys in a truck.
And it's cheaper that way. Yeah.
So, one thing I hadn't heard mentioned, I don't know if this is part of the contract, but one of the things that has bothered me in this town and everywhere I've lived is driving up a main thoroughfare during rush hour and there's a garbage truck sitting out in the middle of the road collecting garbage. Is there any way to write into the contract that garbage will be picked up on certain main thoroughfares during off hours or not at peak times?
We don't have it in our contract. We could discuss. The contract is not signed yet. I can bring this up here. We'll now be finalizing the contract with all the conditions and everything else to see if we could, you know, somehow accommodate that the main. But it's in a small town like ours. What is Maine? You know, well, Maine will be Mammoth Road. You know,
even if it was limited to state roads, it just seems like on many occasions I've run into, you know, there's just the hazard it causes to traffic.
But they will have to jump to you know, to the side roads, just basically like plowing. You have to go on Main one to go to the side roads.
Just thought I'd
It's
mention
tough.
it. It was an
It
observation.
is very tough to coordinate the time. But we will, I will discuss if I can do something.
Okay, it's at least worth asking the
Yep.
question. What happens with the town dump or the drop-off center? That just continues to operate as it always has?
The drop-off center will continue. What we have right now, our fund is growing, and hopefully will be sufficient enough that we can do the improvements. We have plans that we finalized a couple of years ago, and we will do the improvements to the drop-off center. We'll continue as this. Now we can maybe increase time, because if right now we can't open too early in the springtime because it's too wet over there. If we'll do the drainage improvement, then we can extend 1 month early in the springtime. That will help. But yes, we will be trying to put the contract for that one and construct the improvements.
And just a final comment of, I know probably there's, the 80-20 rule. I think most families will be able to squeeze their household garbage into one of those. I know I can, but I only have one child. I know families that have 5, 6, sometimes even more children living in the house. And I do think we need to come up with a sticker or something like that for those cases where people are just going to have more garbage than fits into that. So
That's what we will do. Is again, it cannot be a routine because we'll defeat our 17%.
no, I understand that, but still, I think we can't. We have to provide some way for them to dispose of their garbage.
And I think we have to look at this.
Even if at a cost.
I don't want. Yes, definitely we would do that now, but we also, I believe, we will check and see if people are coming for that. And there is plenty of recyclables in that bin that never went to recyclables, then that kind of practice will have to stop.
Even if it's some way where they could pay at least a second pail for, I'm talking about not the people who have parties who need, the one time I have to dispose of a couple extra bags of garbage. It's the people who, they have a large family and they just generate more garbage, even recycling. That maybe there's a way they could lease a second.
We'll look into it. Yeah.
So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Is the Solid Waste Committee recommending this also? And just a brief yes or don't need to dialogue. I'm interested in whether you support this recommendation.
Yeah, we've been working with Janusz and Doris and Donna right along with this, with the research and the development of this, and we feel strongly this is the best way to go. Are there alternatives? There are. Janusz walked you through those. You can make some other arguments, but this seemed to make the most sense.
Okay. Is this a 5-year contract?
This is 5-year contract with 2 years options to extend to 7 years.
Is there any rhyme or reason as to why we do that, or is that standard?
5 years, if you would go to offset the cost of the containers. If you make it for 2 years or 3 years, all of a sudden the contracts will go up. So 5 years was the best.
Okay, with 2 years option,
Yeah.
okay. And this is not a trap question, and I don't want to get into a big debate, but one of the options we didn't see was no program at all. We've had folks who look at the $2 million budget and just say, just wipe it off, and every man and woman for themselves, like some towns have. Everyone goes to the dump. So that wasn't looked at.
We don't have a dump.
Dump.
Or,
We don't
excuse
have a
me.
year-round dump.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a stupid
that's
question.
Why.
Okay,
Not a trick answer, but
thank you. All right. Did you have any questions?
I'm just wondering, do we want to waive the second reading and let a little bit of information get out? Because there's nobody here, and if no one shows up the second time, but I know I'm going to get, what the heck are you people doing, making now that we have to have garbage cans only this one size, and I can't do what I'm always doing? So, this is fair warning that.
Two things. Is there some time frame that we're up against
Well, that's true.
for this